Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we take turns handing off a single microphone every time the other person dies. Magic Key reads The Treasure of Kasuto. So the Nintendo Cartridge Society reads with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I'm always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It feels weird to be here at the end of the year wearing shorts.
Yes, it is warm in Los Angeles, at least as we are recording this. We're recording just a little bit in advance so we can put these things out. But yeah, it is hot. It is like dusty or particulate-y. We're in a weird weather space in Los Angeles right now.
Yes, but it is the end of the year.
Yes. Well, certainly no one can deny that it is the end of the year. And again, I just want to reiterate that what we just did right now was not the weather report.
Right.
We do not do that anymore.
It's not a feature of the show anymore.
Hasn't been for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer than it was a feature.
It's a great point. Yeah, it's hard to believe that once upon a time we were like, what are we going to talk about on this show? Better mention the weather.
Hey, it was the Wii U and 3D, the end of the 3DS era.
Boy, is that true. All right. Well, Mark, before we get into what we're getting into today, which is, of course, we are celebrating Nintendo multiplayer with an ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. It's got to plug the Patreon, patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, which you can go to. And if you are supporting us at the 8 or 16-bit level, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS at the Movies.
Yes, and just last week we released an episode about Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery that with special guest Ryan Mogi that was a lot of fun. Also, gotta mention in November we had an episode about Edgar Wright's The Running Man with friend of the show Greg Smith.
Friend of the show and special guest. Let's call him
guest.
Yes. So, and then we did a bunch of other movies. There are 5 other episodes of NCS at the Movies from this year. And then our previous miniseries, NCS Arcade, where we played games, NCS Detective Club, where we watched, murder mystery shows, and NCS Goes Broadway. A bunch of cool stuff. Some of it is available at the 4-bit level over on Patreon. Some of it is available for free if you follow us over there. So go check it out. There's a bunch over there. If you need something extra to listen to over the holidays, that is a good place to check. Also, if you want to check in with your fellow NCS fan, friends, whatever. Yes.
Community.
The community, the Discord. We will often refer to the Discord during these shows. If you want to get in there and contribute to the Discord and see what people are saying in there, email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com. We will send you an invitation. You can pop in there, chat with people basically all the time. Mark, a little programming note. This is our part 1 of the ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. Part 2 will go out next Tuesday, the 23rd. Thank you. The Christmas Eve, as it is known, of course, obviously. And then we will have no episode on that Thursday.
Yes, that's right.
Or the following Tuesday.
That's right.
But we'll be back on New Year's Day for our sort of like wrap up of the year, and then back to a normal schedule after that.
Yep.
All right, Mark, is that enough dithering, or would you like to dither some more?
No, I would love to dither some more, but I know that people are here to listen to us talk about the ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer.
That's right. At least the A through M's at this point, and then then a couple days they can come back for the N through Z's. All right, Mark, let's get into it. Did what I did just then count as further dithering?
If that didn't, this does.
Absolutely. I think they both qualify.
Probably. If you open a dictionary and you look up dithering,
and I never will,
I think it's possible that there could be an illustration of you.
Oh, jeez.
Not in a bad way. I'm just saying as an example.
Not in a bad way.
Yeah. Being in the dictionary is not
bad. I
bad.
podcast for like 3 hours a week. I don't think my picture should be next to the word dithering.
Textbook example of dithering.
What, right now?
Right there.
Let me ask you this. Do you have a dictionary in your home?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't have a thesaurus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a set of encyclopedia.
I think we may have a thesaurus.
Can I ask why?
No. No, now this has become dithering. We we are look. So it is the holiday season. People are heading home or to various places where they may see family and where they may be playing multiplayer games cross generationally. The real reason that now is the time that we wanted to talk about multiplayer games. For me was that bringing the Wii home that first Christmas was like the real opportunity for like the sort of transformational, oh my God, we can all play this thing, where like my parents wanted to play. It wasn't just that we made them, but they liked it. And so, and like last Christmas, Sarah's nieces were around and we were all playing like Mario Party and NES, Nintendo World Championships, NES edition. And just like, Mario Kart is a great thing for this. It's all just such a good like thing to plug into a Christmas or a holiday get together.
I completely agree. When I am able to see family for the holidays, it's been so fun to be able to bring my Switch and now my Switch 2, and like you said, Mario Kart, to be able to play that with like my nieces and nephews and my family. All of that has just been such a big part of it. So yeah, it feels like the holidays are a great time to celebrate Nintendo multiplayer.
Yes. So that's exactly what we're doing. We've got an ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. At first, it was tempting to be like, maybe these should just be like local multiplayer experiences. But Nintendo has clearly branched out from that, right? And in some ways, they're trying to make online feel more like local multiplayer. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of that as we go throughout this list. But so yeah, it's anything that qualifies as multiplayer.
Yep.
All right. So, Mark, I don't know your list. You don't know my list. We're starting with the letter A because that's the beginning of the alphabet. Dither, dither, dither. Would you like to go first or would you like to go second?
I'll go first.
Great.
My A is for Animal Crossing. And I discovered something that I didn't know because I had never played Animal Crossing on the GameCube. The first Animal Crossing game I ever played was Wild World, which was on the DS. And it had like online functionality for the first time. It also had like local multiplayer. But you could online, like if you exchanged friend codes with somebody, you could visit their town and they could visit your town. And so I thought that was the first time that was possible. But in doing this, I learned that that's actually not the case. On the GameCube version, you could visit another town. And the way it worked is that, you would, if in the memory card B slot, so a GameCube, like above the 4 controller ports, had memory card slots. I had 2 of them.
Man, let's just relish in like memory card slots for a second, because what a time where like you needed to have a separate thing, and like it was assumed to be like a semi-impermanent thing because it had like a slot that was easily accessible.
Right, because they weren't that big, and so I guess if you had a lot of save data, you might need multiple memory cards.
Right. In terms of memory, they weren't that big. Physically, they were like the size of a domino or bigger.
Physically, they were pretty large.
Yes.
And the reason you needed them, the GameCube was the first time a Nintendo platform needed like a memory card, because previously you would just save 2 cartridges.
Right. And then also the Nintendo 64 had a save card that you could put
inside
the controller, which I remember having but don't really know what the use for it was.
Yeah, I had one too. So it must have been required for maybe just if you needed more, maybe I actually can't remember.
I can't remember either. I think the only game I ever saved on it was Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just save to the cart. Like, what's the... Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so on the GameCube, if you had, and you were playing Animal Crossing, if in the memory card B slot, in the second slot, if you had a memory card inserted that had town data on it, you could, and you were playing on like the A memory card slot,
sure,
you could go to like the train station or something
and visit this other,
and the porter would allow you to visit
That's really fun. So like you could bring your island to or your town to someone else's house, put it in their GameCube,
Yes,
and
and
then
they
they
could
could visit
visit
you.
it, which
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I didn't realize that was the case. Just thought that was super interesting that even way back in the GameCube release, they understood how important it is to be able to
Right.
visit somebody else's town.
Well, and the other thing that I think is cool about Animal Crossing, cool slash frustrating about Animal Crossing and multiplayer as a concept, is that like if you're playing on the same system, everyone shares the same town or island, right? So, like back in the GameCube days, there could be two separate players, but like they would be, they would occupy the same town. And like, so now when Sarah and I played New Horizons, we're on the same island, which means that like she can play and like do stuff to the island. And then when I come back to it later, I see what she's done. And like we can pop in and play together, but so much of like the together, like the co-op of that was just like she would play and then I would play, and we would have to deal with the consequences of each other's actions.
Right.
It's just very interesting how much like Animal Crossing seems to be about like here's this area, you affect the area, and other players can do the same.
Yeah.
It's just very cool, and feels like a nice like growing opportunity together. Animal Crossing, a great A for multiplayer. My A is ARMS, the very early Nintendo Switch game, fighting game, sort of, Punch Out like, sort of. Just what an odd experiment ARMS was. And like one of the last new like IP things that we've seen from Nintendo, where they really went for it, right? Where like the designs are full of character and like very colorful, and they were clearly like, I don't know, like trying to start something necessarily, but
Yeah,
like
it feels very like Splatoon influenced in a
totally
way.
yes, yeah, and that it is like
We're
colorful
creating
and
this
has like an
world
attitude,
and
yeah.
like yeah.
um and got like a little bit of support in terms of like new characters and modes and levels and stuff, but is now sort of just like a footnote, a curiosity about the first year of the Nintendo Switch. But like Min Min is in Smash, so like the characters, the franchise, they're not gone, they're not buried, but I wonder if slash when we ever see them again.
Yeah, and it's sold decently.
Right,
Like I
yes.
think like 5 million copies or something like that.
Yeah, something like not spectacular, but like pretty good. It'll outsell Metroid Prime 4.
Right.
And it had online multiplayer, but it also had split screen. You could do 2 or 4 players locally, which is pretty cool. A little bit like strange and like busy to do that, but like I don't know. It was a fully featured like multiplayer game.
Yeah, I never bought ARMS. I just played the like global punch test or punch out or whatever they called
I
it.
think Global Test Punch.
Yeah, that makes
is,
sense.
is what they like. A Global Test Fire. Like that's what they how they like to structure that. Yeah, I own ARMS. I wonder how it plays on the Switch too, but I'll never find out.
Very good.
Okay, so that's my A. Now my B is I started at Switch. Now I'm going all the way back to NES for Bubble Bobble. Mark, have we played Bubble Bobble together?
We did a little bit when the NES Classic Edition was released.
That's right. I forgot that thing is on there. Bubble Bobble is a very it's an NES game where you play as 2 little dragons. They're like men turned into dragons that shoot bubbles out of their mouths, and then you have to like pop the bubbles with like enemies inside them. And it is just like a series of challenge rooms, one after another. There's like 100 levels, and one piece of music plays the entire time.
Luckily, it's a pretty good piece of music.
It's pretty good. And like you can play the game by yourself, but like wholly not recommended. Like get a second NES controller, and 2 of you should be playing this game. Sort of a blast. Like I remember playing Bubble Bobble in college, just like in the lobby of like the dorm, and just like people would like wander in and out and like pass controllers back and forth to each other. It's so imminently understandable. Like blow a bubble, catch an enemy in the bubble, pop the bubble. Like it's so easy and fun, and goes on forever. And you can just like keep continuing too. Like the game, in a very like un-NES sort of way, the game wants you to just keep playing forever. So yeah, delightful, the Bubble Bobble.
Yeah, it's great. The little dragons are cute.
Their names are Bub and Bob.
That's great. The lore of like the Bubble Bobble series and its spin-offs is incredibly complex. Yeah, good stuff.
They're trying to save their girlfriends. Did I say this already?
No, we didn't know why they were. Is them being changed into dragons? Neither of us are gonna know this.
No.
So we'll just move on.
Right. But yeah, Bubble Bobble I would say is a perfect like pick up and play NES game for 2 people.
My B is for Block Fort. In Mario Kart 64.
Yes.
Block Fort is one of the battle mode stages. It has 4 primary colored like 3-level towers with ramps and bridges between them.
Yes.
And it's so interesting because probably if you go back and play Block Fort, it's not that exciting. I don't know how
and
it
not
could
that dynamic.
Be. Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting about Block Fort is that like it sort of enters the pantheon of like multiplayer arenas that is just like universally known. I feel like it's Block Fort. I feel like it's Facility from GoldenEye. I'm sorry if that's on your list. And Blood Gulch from Halo. That like those 3, everyone knows those 3 levels.
Yeah.
And Block Fort is the first of them, right?
No, I can't remember. Oh, you mean I meant in order of release?
In order of release, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. Did Mario Kart or GoldenEye come out first?
I'm gonna look it up.
I would guess Mario Kart did.
I would guess
I don't know
too, but
for sure.
You keep talking about Block Fort.
So, yeah, it's hard to imagine now because you could only have a maximum of 4 people playing, and in Mario Kart 64. I don't think that there were computer-controlled players in. Well, maybe you could add CPU.
Yeah, I think there were.
But yeah, so it's a pretty.
Yeah, Block Fort is first, 1996 versus GoldenEye 1997.
Okay, yes. So it's a pretty vast area, and you can. It's just so easy to avoid other people in Block Fort.
Yes.
It's so easy to avoid other people. And because it's like so open, you can see hazards coming a mile away. And by that, I mean whatever the draw distance of the Nintendo 64 can handle. But for whatever reason, it was like the go-to that me and my siblings and friends would play. And I just spent hours in Block Fort.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those video game spaces that like you just know. Right? It's like the mall from Dead Rising. Where it's like I can close my eyes and like walk around that space.
And there, in later editions of Mario Kart, they would do battle arenas that were similar to Block Fort. And
I think there's a Block Fort in 8 Deluxe, right?
There might be. Yeah.
And is there a battle mode in World?
Yeah, I think there is. I've never played it. Wait, that's such a good point. I've never played the battle mode in World, if it exists. But I think I
feel like it must.
Yeah. Anyways, Block Fort for Mario Kart 64. One that probably has not aged particularly well, but looms large in my memory because I spent so much time in it.
Yep. That's a great B. Mark, your C.
Yes, my C is for couch co-op. I feel like this is Nintendo's multiplayer identity. At a time when Nintendo's competitors like Sony and Microsoft were really turning to online play, right? Like Xbox Live became huge, PlayStation Network. Nintendo released the Wii, which, yes, had some online features. There were games you could play online. They had Nintendo Wi-Fi connection for the Nintendo DS. But the real selling point of the Wii was the opposite of online play. The real selling point of the Wii was getting a bunch of friends together, getting family together, and all playing in the same room, connected to the same system. And I feel like that was had always been a part of Nintendo's identity, the like multiplayer aspect of their consoles, but then really, I think, solidified it in the Nintendo Wii era. And even as they have become more advanced in their online capabilities, that couch co-op sensibility continues to define how they make choices around multiplayer.
Yes, so much so that my C is the camera, which is a new feature for the Switch 2, which I think does its best to turn the online multiplayer experience into couch co-op so that you can see your friends reacting to the turtle shell you threw at them, so you can hear your friends reacting to you using a smash and knocking them off the edge of the stage in Smash Brothers. Yeah, it feels like they're trying so hard to make couch co-op be something that doesn't have to happen in the room, right?
Right.
It's not on my list, but stop me if it is on yours. The fact that the Famicom has two controllers, not just two controller ports, they're hardwired into the system, right? And that's the only way you could buy the thing is with two controllers sticking out of it. Yeah, they were couch co-op or couch multiplayer from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, both our C's are just so connected that like I wanted to introduce mine as well. But yeah, the camera, Mark, you mentioned that you have not used it for any multiplayer experiences.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. I've only used it for Welcome Tour up to this point.
And I did do one session with friends of the show, Connor McCabe and Matt Apodaca, where we were playing Mario Kart using game chat and the camera, and that was fun. It was fun to see other people's faces and like hear them while we were playing, some Knockout Tour. But I wonder what Nintendo's like internal tracking for that is. Do you think they have any idea? Like, they must have an idea of like how many people are using the cameras.
Yeah, I
and,
would guess so.
And like, what were their expectations for it? A, B, is it meeting those expectations? And like, what percentage of players are using it? Like, I would love to know.
Yeah, me too. Yes, that would be so interesting to know.
I know there was a little bit of a hubbub that like the like looking under the hood of the Switch 2, that 3 of the 12 gigs of internal RAM for the Switch 2 are like dedicated to the like game chat, like set aside for game chat. So like a quarter of the RAM, which like is a lot, and it does process a lot of information, even if it's showing those things as sort of like slideshow frames per second. But yeah, it was like, well, maybe we can unlock some of that. Because if you look at something like the PlayStation 5, it doesn't have anything like dedicated to any game chat features, even though like it supports voice chat in just about everything. It just like uses the active RAM instead of like having it set aside for it. So I just wonder if like the camera and the game chat features together are like holding back the Switch 2's power in any way. I'm not a power fiend, so like it doesn't, I'm not that concerned about it, but like just something to note.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think maybe that goes to our point about couch co-op, where it's like that is where Nintendo has chosen to make their priority, right? They are willing to make that sacrifice in raw horsepower and like in reserving that memory, that like system memory for supporting game chat, supporting that like couch co-op like experience.
Yeah, that's true. That they really see that as like the less painless we can make this, the fact that we can always dedicate this much RAM to it
is a priority.
Is a priority. Yeah. I hope people are using it. Even though I myself am not. All right, that's my C is camera. My D is Dragon Quest IX: Sentinels of the Starry Skies from 2009. Mark, you played a lot of this game.
I did, and I didn't play any of it in multiplayer.
You didn't play any of it in multiplayer.
Yeah.
But it is designed for you to like design your own angel character and then like go through dungeons and stuff with other players, right? It's a game that was on the DS, has never been ported to anything else, and was published outside of Japan by Nintendo. And is bizarre in that way that like it's the only Dragon Quest that outside of Japan has been published or only published by not Square Enix. And then like I wonder also if it was like a little bit of a trial run for Dragon Quest X, which is like the MMO. And then also got me wondering, do you think we're ever going to see that Dragon Quest X offline mode?
I don't, because I think the game is so big.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dragon Quest is, well, I guess never say never, but it seems unlikely to me anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a remake of 9, because that was the first Dragon Quest game that I had ever like really played. And I played it all the way through, and I loved it. My memory is that you could go to like a tavern, and at that tavern you could like basically go online and pick up party members that way that other people had created to
Right.
like add to your party. Yeah, anyways, I love Dragon Quest 9.
I also just will like put a pin here in that like uh multiplayer RPGs like are not that common really. I mean maybe more so in the MMO era or in the post MMO era. But like growing up like and then generally speaking I think of an RPG as like a solo thing. Like that's what I'm doing by myself for way too long by myself. It's like reading a book, right? And that Dragon Quest 9 was like, no, this is like you play with other people.
Yeah, it's a total novelty when it happens. And you're right, outside of the MMO space, you don't really see it. I guess I won't talk about it in case it comes up later, but when that happens on like the Super Nintendo, it feels
And we'll talk
so
about
crazy.
it. Yes.
I remember my cousin had a PlayStation, and he was visiting us one summer, and he brought it, and there was some like RPG that was multiplayer on the PlayStation, and I'll never know what it is, I don't think, because I remember so little details about it. But I just remember that feeling so like cool and crazy to me.
I was just trying to Google PlayStation multiplayer RPG, and like because PlayStation is the name of the system always, it's not going to help. So I abandoned ship. Mark your D.
Yes, my D is for download play on the Nintendo DS.
What a great D.
So, you know, the way download play worked, this is the first time the Nintendo introduced this concept of like being able to have one game cart and wirelessly share it. This is another thing that I learned for this when I was doing research for this episode, because I didn't realize that GBA games like Mario Kart Super Circuit had a mode, a single pack race mode, where with a link cable or link cables, you could have one pack, like game pack of Super Circuit, and then
multiple people could play
multiple people could play it. Download play is where I became familiar with it. Even games like Mario Kart DS had a mode that you could play where you connected like locally, and then one person with the cartridge could then kind of like share it out, and people could download. I think what's so interesting, it was very cool when it was introduced, and it continued on the Nintendo 3DS, and then I just feel like there was something on the Switch as well, and now there's Game Share on the Switch too.
Right.
I just feel like when I was going through this, there's so much of it that I guess like we see in a lot of elements of Nintendo, there's this core idea that they've had all for so long,
right? And they just try to
keep, like,
evolve
iterating on it, and sometimes technology catches up and makes it easier, and it just becomes part of like the DNA.
Yes. Well, and I think like that's like because Game Share now that's streaming from the original Switch, or from the Switch 2, which means that like it's requiring the processing power more of the Switch 2 than of the Switch 1 or the other Switch 2 that you are sending it to, which like sounds like kind of taxing on that hardware, but like in a way that the download would not be. Right? Like download play, you are actually running your abbreviated version of Mario Kart DS on your system, and you can only play as a Shy Guy, but that's okay because it's still fun, and we can all play on my one cart.
Yep.
Download play is a great D for Nintendo multiplayer.
So now my E. I feel like this one's kind of gimme, but I want to highlight the everyone nature of
this is good
of Nintendo multiplayer, and it's not true.
At first I thought you were going to say mine, but you were just misspeaking, but go on.
I have such good memories of playing games, multiplayer Nintendo games, with everybody of so many different generations, across different gaming generations. Like, I really admire in when Nintendo puts multiplayer in a series like Mario. It is such like pick up and play, easy to drop in and drop out.
Yeah.
They make it accessible to anyone, so you can be playing with like really little kids and they can participate and just bubble along when they need to. People who haven't played games before for a really long time, they can pick it up and it's easy to get into, and again, they can participate without feeling like they're holding people back. Like, I just think that that's something that Nintendo does extremely well.
I like that, and that they also do have the experiences where it's like two hardcore players can play together.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Like Super Mario 3D World, like getting to those super late levels that are like incredibly difficult can be way more fun / like actually doable, but also like weirdly more difficult because there's another body to contend with.
Absolutely.
That like you need two good players playing together. The multiplayer in Pikmin 3 is like that as well, and like there's just a bunch of examples where the multiplayer can be, like you say, for anyone, not just like people that are less skilled at games than the person who owns the Switch, but the people, a bunch of like hardcore players.
Yeah. I think they do a really good job of that.
I think they do too. And is like something that is so quintessentially Nintendo, right? So my E is not for everyone, but for everybody. 1-2 Switch. We talked about this on the show last week during the Cardies when I nominated Horse for being the NPC most likely to file an OSHA complaint. But yeah, Mark, remember everybody 1-2 Switch?
Yeah, I mean, the most interesting thing about it is the article that was released like a year before the game was revealed.
Yes.
Discussing its troubled history, and wondering if it would ever come out.
And I think the funniest part about that article specifically were that the details seemed made up.
Right.
It seemed like, Schreier, you're in over your skis. You're just telling stories about a game that could never exist. And like, no, the game actually is a game show style thing that you can control with your phone, hosted by a man in a horse mask named Horse.
Do you remember the little bit of marketing they did for it? Maybe it was even like the reveal video. They invited like 100 influencers.
Yeah, to like a ballroom.
Yeah. At like a Hilton in downtown LA or something.
And then projected, I think it was in Japan, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe. It totally probably was.
And then like projected the game up onto like a screen, and then everyone's like using their phones and be like, wow!
And here's the thing. We played a little bit of Everybody 1-2 Switch.
It was fine.
It was totally fine.
Yeah.
Like the taking your phone and going around. The one I remember is going around and trying to match the color.
Yeah.
Like it's not I didn't think it was a bad game for what it is.
I mean, I think it is a bad game.
Really? I don't know.
You and I
worse
played
than 1-2 Switch?
Yes. You and I played it for like 12 minutes, and we're like, okay, I get it. And then put it down. We've never touched it. We both own copies of this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And have you ever turned yours on?
I don't think I've ever opened mine up. But I did get it for my like nieces and nephews who really enjoy 1-2 Switch, the original 1-2 Switch. They played a lot of it, and I think they had a fine time with it.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So,
I mean, I do think it would be fun at some point to try and get a bunch of people together to play Everybody 1-2 Switch, but I'm also worried about inflicting that on my friends and what they would think of me.
No, I think maybe, I mean, again, I only played for 12 minutes ever in my life.
Yes.
But I think maybe you're a little harsh on Everybody 1-2 Switch.
I don't know. I think you're gambling with my reputation. If you're like, yeah, just do it.
So I think this is your F.
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, my F is flower planting challenges in Pikmin Bloom.
Oh, that's good.
Pikmin Bloom, we talk about it a lot on the show, is a sort of step counter game on the phone that is Pikmin themed and that we use to track our steps and that we play together with people in the Discord and with each other, and that we set up, or at the beginning of every week you can do a flower planting challenge either alone or in a group, where you can do it along with steps too, where you just you decide to plant flowers, and then it measures both like your steps and like the actual distance that you travel, and then you plant flowers based on how many Pikmin are in your team at the time. And we often do these things in groups of like 4 or 5. and it's just a thing that you are very passively working on together with other people, planting flowers. Shout out to Kyle in the Discord for always setting these up for us, or at least getting group 1 set up, and then usually conquering the entire challenge by himself. Sometimes with Connor McCabe's help, but yeah, I really like the just sort of passive nature of this multiplayer, which is what Pikmin Bloom is so good at in general. But in terms of like planting flowers, that's something that you can always do in that game.
Yeah.
It's just you've always got petals, so you can always plant flowers.
Yeah. My F is for friend codes, the infamous friend codes. So these started in the Nintendo DS era, but we're also on the Wii and kind of continue to this day.
Yeah, definitely. Our friend codes are in the episode description right now.
But I think
if you want to be friends with us,
so
go look.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. On the Nintendo DS specifically, there was no account system. So it wasn't like you had a single friend code. You had there was a different friend code for every game. And friend codes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So there was no like username you could search or anything like that. It's like a 16-digit code.
Incredible.
I think it's that long. I actually don't know how long it was in the DS era.
Now it's a 12-digit code, right?
It could be. But I would have to share, let's say I wanted to play with Patrick in Mario Kart DS. I would have to share my friend code with him. He would have to share his friend code with me, and we would both have to enter that friend code into our system.
Yes.
And then if we wanted to do the same thing in like Metroid Prime Hunters, we would share new friend codes.
Oh boy.
To make it happen. So it was but you know,
the DS was also around in a time that was like we had phones, we had cell phones.
Right.
But we didn't have smartphones.
No, I had my LG chocolate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so texting existed, but it wasn't like a regular thing that you did. So like for us to exchange, if you and I wanted to play online with each other, I'd have to like call you up on the phone and exchange friend codes.
Yeah, it was Nintendo got ragged on.
Send you a telegram.
Yeah, Nintendo got ragged on a lot for friend codes. But I don't know.
They're fine.
It all worked out. It all worked out. It was fine.
I mean, it's just now if you want to become friends with someone on Switch, there are like QR codes and stuff that you can share, but it's still largely you have to send the friend code. Like I can't look for NCS Mark and like find you or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Or same with you talk about Pikmin Bloom. Like when somebody wants to add as you want to add somebody as a friend on Pikmin Bloom, they can send a QR code, but the other way to do it is to manually enter this 12-digit or whatever it is code.
And like on Switch when it launched, it would also sync to or you could sync it with your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and it would find other people who you were friends with on Facebook or Twitter who had synced their Switch to those accounts and suggest them as friends. So you wouldn't have to necessarily find people via friend codes that way. But since social media has all but melted, we're back to just straight up friend codes now.
Yep.
That's a great F, Mark. Your G.
My G is for GoldenEye 007 on the Nintendo 64. Another one that the multiplayer of GoldenEye is kind of a you had to be there
truly
thing.
Also the single player.
Yeah, also the single player. Oh my gosh, when that was released on Nintendo Classics and I played it, and what a struggle. Just like it did get better once you figure out I should just play this with a Nintendo 64 controller.
Well, absolutely.
But GoldenEye multiplayer on the Nintendo 64. Another one, kind of like Block Fort, when you go back to it. I remember it was me and my friend Thomas, and just the two of us playing this. And you're like, in hindsight, you're like, it's amazing that we considered it fun.
Yes.
Because it's just two people running through
The facility.
the facility, sometimes seeing each other,
Right.
and when you do, the firefights are like not that fun or exciting. I don't know, but it was
Well, you're setting up
such
those proximity mines,
setting
right?
up the proximity
and
mines.
the tripwires and stuff like that. That was the fun of that game.
Uh-huh.
Was like turning the course into like a home alone the facility. So there's another example of home aloneing something. Um, yeah. For me that was like the fun of the cat and mouse of that. Did you ever play it 4-player?
Oh
Or
yeah,
just
for
okay.
sure, for sure. At like sleepovers and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and for like, it was a ton of fun. I don't know that going back to it would be any fun. And when they've tried to recreate it with like the Wii version and stuff,
Yeah.
it just never caught on the same way.
Yeah. Yep. That is definitely true. That like it's such a moment in time.
Probably the defining multiplayer experience of the Nintendo 64 era. Is that fair?
Yeah, probably. I guess I don't know what else it would be other than like Mario Kart,
Mario Kart.
is the other one. I think those two. That's like the 1-2 punch. And then yeah, everything else is like a step down. Like Diddy Kong Racing is good, but just less well known, I think. Okay, so my G, right? We're on G's. Yes, you just did GoldenEye. Is Guitar Hero. On specifically Guitar Hero as it appeared on the Wii. I first of all, love that to play Guitar Hero on the Wii, you had to put a Wii remote inside the
The guitar
controller.
Yep.
Like that there was like a little thing inside. You had to open it up. You had to find the little dongle in there, stick it in there, and then like slap the.
Yeah, you had to crank it.
You had to really. It was strange. And then so it would like sense the tilt when you were activating star mode or something. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, Guitar Hero is maybe you mentioned the definitive multiplayer experience of the Nintendo 64 era, of like the PlayStation 3, Wii, Xbox 360, the quintessential multiplayer experience, especially locally, was Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
This is a true everyone can play it, right? Like you don't need. Your ability to play other video games don't really matter. In a lot of ways, your ability to play music doesn't matter. Just play Guitar Hero on these things and have a great time. I remember my friend Shelby had gotten she got the Wii so she could get Guitar Hero. Got Guitar Hero 3 and World Tour, and I think the Metallica one, like kind of all at once. And then somehow got the Guitar Hero, the Van Halen Guitar Hero for free. And I was looking it up to see like, wait, is that possible? Why would that have happened? And it was a pre-order bonus, like a pre-order promotion for Guitar Hero 5, but I don't think she pre-ordered Guitar Hero 5.
Huh.
I think somehow they were just like crazy with this one. They were like, we have to give it away. No one's buying Guitar Hero Van Halen.
Yeah, maybe that's so interesting. Maybe by that time, Guitar Hero, like the flood, had happened.
Yes.
And so
and the dam had broke or
yeah,
whatever
because you
the
had like
analogy is.
Metallica, you had Beatles Rock Band, you had like
Right.
all of those band specific ones.
Yes.
That maybe it was just they couldn't give them away.
Right. And like you
Or
can
they could, I guess, to your friend.
They had to. That like you can see where you're like, yes, Metallica fits perfectly with Guitar Hero, and I could see where there'd be a whole disc of Metallica songs. The Beatles, yes, obviously, a huge catalog of legendary songs. Van Halen, sure, I could see that being like a DLC pack of songs, but like a whole game of Van Halen songs. Okay. Yeah, so that's my G is Guitar Hero. My H now? Okay, so I don't think this is actually what this is called, but the sort of helper mode of multiplayer, of Nintendo multiplayer gaming. If Nintendo does have a name for this style of multiplayer, I would love to know what it is. But it's the kind where it's like clearly designed for a parent or a partner or an older sibling to just help the other player get through what is generally considered to be like a core gaming experience. I'm talking about like collecting star bits in Super Mario Galaxy, or playing as Cappy in Super Mario Odyssey, or playing as Pauline in Donkey Kong Bonanza. These are all just ways where you're helping. You have like a different set of goals, a different set of things to do. It's maybe less fun or engaging, but like it's a way to actively spectate, if that makes any sense,
Mhm.
and like help the younger or less experienced player get through a cool game.
Yeah, yes, I love to see when Nintendo does this, and I feel like just like we were talking about, with E for everybody earlier, I feel like it works in both directions.
Your E was for everyone because it was different from my everybody one two
You're
switch.
right. No. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm embarrassed that I didn't get that correct.
And I was right to interrupt you.
But it works for everyone.
Yes.
Because yes, like the inexperienced person could be playing as Mario and you could be playing as Cappy, or it could be the reverse.
Totally.
Where the person who has more experience could be playing as Mario, and then the helper is the one that's picking up the star bits and that sort of thing.
Right.
It's just very flexible in that way.
Mm-hmm. And like this is also true of like Super Mario Brothers Wonder has this with like the Yoshi character. If you're playing as the Yoshi and the less experienced player is playing as like Mario or whatever, they can hop on your back and you can like get them to like other areas, and just can be very useful way for people to experience these games.
Yeah, that's a great age. My age is for handhelds. Again, talking about something that has been inherent in Nintendo's DNA, and they just kind of keep working at it until the technology gets to a point where it is just like an easy and smooth experience. Starting with the Game & Watch.
Okay, I need you to not actually go through the Game & Watch ones because I have them later.
But starting with like that, and then like even the Game Boy, their first, huge hit like console with swappable cartridges, comes with a Game Link cable. You can play Tetris, head to head. You can play that F1 racing game head to head. Like there are all these examples.
Tennis, baseball, yes.
Yeah, where it's like it is.
And then eventually Pokemon.
Which, yes, in and of itself, such a huge part of that experience. But yeah, from the very beginning, in handheld gaming, they realized that even though it's a portable experience, the ability to play multiplayer is still an important part of games.
Yep. Your eye, Mark.
My eye is for instability. It's not all,
Boy, this is. I knew the turn was coming here somewhere.
Yeah, Nintendo multiplayer is not without its faults.
No.
And early forays into online gaming have not always gone smoothly. And the one that really stands out to me, and I think has kind of colored the experience for this franchise online forever, is the instability of trying to play Super Smash Brothers Brawl on the Wii.
And I feel like instability is a charitable description of it.
It's so interesting because they basically just gave up on it.
Yes.
They basically were just like, this is as good as it gets, and we're not like we're all out of ideas. Like we're not good because Brawl on Wii was, notoriously it couldn't connect with other people. It couldn't connect even to just like random online matches. If you were able to connect, it was so framey.
Yes.
Moved like so slow. Just like a really bad experience that they were never able to improve. They were never able to get it running well.
Right. And it couldn't read button inputs during those like dead periods. So like you had to it was basically impossible to play.
Yeah. And they just like we're just like sorry. Like this is the experience. And to my memory, the Smash 4 worked fine. The online play.
It definitely worked fine. I mean, I remember you and I playing Smash 4 3DS locally, and that worked kind of seamlessly.
Right. Yeah. And now, like online play exists in Ultimate and all that kind of stuff. But I think, at least in my mind, Smash Brothers Online is forever tainted by that first experience with Brawl.
I think you're right. Well, and has also never been like to the level of they don't use a rollback netcode, so like it is not a like viable competitive way to play Smash. It's arguably not a viable competitive way to play any fighting game that like you need to have that like zero latency thing of actually playing in person. But other fighting games have gotten so much closer.
It's just interesting that, speaking of instability, I just feel like with Nintendo games, you can't ever take for granted that the online is going to work well. And I think it's less of a problem now, but I even think of Super Mario Maker 2 and, though that online experience was not very good either.
Yeah, when you're doing like the if you're playing multiplayer online, like it got really like laggy and framey and stuff. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it just seems like it's been on a game by game basis.
Totally, yes.
And Nintendo is usually so polished in all the other areas of a game that you can tell that this is just not an area of expertise for them.
Yeah, and it's one of the things where like I just have to remind myself that Nintendo, while a big gaming company with a ton of money, is a much smaller company than Sony or Microsoft, right? That like Microsoft, but just they both these other they deal in like communications and like technology in a way that Nintendo simply isn't. My eye is for Inklings, the little guys from Splatoon that are your playable characters and let you be like that. They're your avatars, right? So you get to both express yourself, but express yourselves within the vocabulary of Splatoon. Avatar characters in most other games are kind of just like, well, this is what I want my guy to look like. And I feel like the Inklings in Splatoon are not that. They're like, I found this cool set of stuff within this world to make my guy.
Yeah.
Like you cannot design outside of the Splatoon aesthetic with the Inkling. And it's so much stronger for it. Like it's a creative character that looks distinctly like the game.
Yeah.
I like the Inklings. I think they're a good addition to like the Nintendo character canon.
Yeah, they're cool in a way that Nintendo characters usually are not.
That's right.
My
nope.
My your J, yes.
But I'm not going to talk about my J for very long because I don't really care for it. Jet Force Gemini is my J, a game that we played for NCS Arcade a couple years ago. Is a 1999 Rare developed Nintendo 64 game that the single player is arduous. Would you say that is a
capital N, capital F, not fun.
Not fun. So neither of us finished the campaign or even got that far into it.
Yeah.
But then we did play a little bit of the multiplayer, like the and this was during a time where Rare was putting that in all of their Nintendo 64 games.
Donkey Kong 64 had a 4-player deathmatch.
Insanity. Like, I get it. You gave them guns, but like... Anyway, we had at least a little bit of fun playing the Jet Force Gemini multiplayer. And I think if people have fond memories of that game, it's because they were playing that and they were like, I can play as the dog and run around and like shoot my friends. So yeah, I don't have much more to say. Jet Force Gemini is my J.
My J is for Joy-Con sharing. You brought up like the Famicom and how that had two controllers from the beginning, like connected to hardwired to the system, could not be removed.
So funny.
But in the US, that has never been the case, right? So the Switch with the Joy-Con was the first time in like worldwide that there was a Nintendo system that from the beginning you were equipped for multiplayer.
Yes.
And it's an amazing feature of the Switch, and it's an amazing feature of the Switch 2. That I use all the time when I'm traveling and with family or friends and, just setting it up in tabletop mode, popping off the Joy-Con and going. Like, I don't even have to think about, packing extra controllers or anything like that.
Right. It packs its own extra controller. Yeah, I remember the first Saturday that the Switch was out. So this would have been March 4th, going to a coffee shop in my neighborhood with Sarah, and we just set it up on the table and played games that I won't mention because they're probably later on our lists, and it just being like a kind of magical experience.
Yeah, and it in some ways makes the value proposition of buying a set of Joy-Con stronger. Because yes, it's like $95 or something for a set of...
I think it's $100 now,
for
right?
a set of like Joy-Con 2.
Yeah.
It's something like that. But
you're getting two controllers.
You're getting two controllers,
right?
In a way,
you're getting two of nobody's favorite controller.
I mean, absolutely true. Although I do think just having them be a little bit bigger on the Switch 2
helps,
made a big difference.
Yeah. So now you're J. No, that
no,
was
that
your
was my
J.
J.
Your K.
It's funny how we've done a lot of these, and yet
They're hard to do. Keeping track of it in real time.
Okay, my K, I have two of them, and they both come from the Super Nintendo era. But I think I'm going to go with Kongs. I think I'm going to go with specifically talking about Donkey Kong Country and how one way that series set itself apart from another Nintendo platformer like the Mario series is that it had a two-player mode.
You had two-player modes even.
You That's right.
Because you could do the co-op where
Uh-huh.
one of you is Donkey and the other is Diddy, and you can't play simultaneously.
But when somebody dies,
right.
the other one takes over.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is something you could just simulate by doing it with the handing the controller.
Uh-huh.
But then the other is like in the very like Mario and Luigi, like one player goes, then the other player goes with their different set of Donkey and Diddy, who are yellow instead of red.
And
do you remember this, that they're yellow?
No, I had totally forgotten that. Like their shirts were yellow?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or hat or tie. Or,
yeah. Oh, sure.
Donkey Kong famously doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, that being able to play co-op and air quotes, could not be heavier because like you said, you're not actually playing at the same time. You're trading off, but there was just something that was like super fun about that and made it feel more engaging as a co-op experience,
right?
Rather than just handing like one controller back and forth.
My K possibly was your other Super Nintendo K, Killer Instinct.
No, my other one was for Kirby.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, and that's a pretty good pull. It's interesting that between Jet Force Gemini, Kongs, and Killer Instinct, we're very much talking about Rare here, and you had GoldenEye earlier. It seems like Rare was just like asserting a multiplayer, and part of that is like a lot of their time, or a lot of their most notable time with Nintendo is on the Nintendo 64, which for the first time had 4 controller slots like built into it. But Killer Instinct is not that. It's a game that premieres in arcades, and then Super NES is the first time that it gets a port to home systems. And it's sort of Nintendo/Rare's answer to Mortal Kombat, with a little bit of Street Fighter mixed in there, but like has a, like an announcer that's like shouting stuff in a very like Mortal Kombat kind of way. Would like it had like fatalities that weren't fatalities; they were more like the brutalities in Mortal Kombat. An interesting cast of characters that include like an Iceman and a robot and a werewolf, and babes upon babes upon babes. Just what a weird game, and like also weird to consider it like sort of a Nintendo property, because obviously now Killer Instinct most recently, probably a decade ago now, came out on Xbox. As Rare is owned by Microsoft. But yeah, a franchise that still sort of like sticks around, although is now probably gone and we'll never see it again. Okay, that's my K. My L, Mark, was Link Cable. But I feel like we've talked about that now in terms of the H of handheld. So instead, I'm going to go way back to 1970 something, 1969. To the Love Tester. To Nintendo had a Love Tester, one of those things where you like held on to they're like little balls connected to a machine that determines like your love connection. And there's like a little meter on it. You've seen this thing, right?
No, I don't know that I have.
So it's like black and white, and has like a little meter on it, and there's a black one and a red one.
Oh, how funny.
And so you hold one, and then the other person holds the other, and it determines your love connection based on, I don't know, how salty your palm is. And by salty I meant sweaty, but
I mean, sure.
The sweatier you are, the saltier you are. And you can't do that with one person. So that is a quintessential multiplayer experience.
Does the machine just explode if the same person?
Incompatible. How can you expect someone to love you if you cannot love yourself?
That's great. That's from way back when Nintendo was more of a toy company than a video game company. That's really fun. My L is for LAN play with the GameCube broadband connector.
Whoa.
So again, during the that PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube era, both Xbox and PlayStation were getting into online gaming, especially Xbox with Xbox Live. But Nintendo didn't support online play for any of their games. They did, you could use the LAN port to connect online if a game's servers supported it. So there was Phantasy Star Online games, I think maybe just in Japan. I don't know if it was ever localized outside of it. But
No way, I think so, because the Dreamcast version was available outside of Japan.
So you could play online, but Nintendo did support with some of their games like 1080 Avalanche, Kirby Air Ride, and Mario Kart Double Dash, the ability to locally connect using LAN cables, setting up basically a LAN party.
Yes.
Everybody brings, you could have up to 8 GameCubes connected and 16 people playing at the same time.
Which was not super practical in most circumstances, but the when I was in college and everyone's internet was wired, right? There was no wireless internet in the dorms. The whole campus was on a single network, so you could do LAN gaming just over
That's
the college
cool.
network.
Yeah.
So mostly that was used for Halo. But yeah, you could hook up, multiple GameCubes together, all across campus, because they were all on the same local area network.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Which now, of course, is unnecessary because we all just use the internet. But it felt like magic.
Yeah, that's amazing. So my M then?
Yes, your M. And these will be our final letters for this episode. We will finish them up next week on Tuesday.
That's right. So my M is for Mii's.
MII.
Yes.
Me.
Such an important component of multiplayer in the Switch era.
In the Wii era.
Sorry, in the Wii era.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're still around.
They are still around, but featured less prominently.
Yeah.
Having your avatar was really important during the Wii era because so many games supported Mii's. And we've extolled the virtues of Mii's before, being able to design them. Even though they are pretty simplistic, the amount of customization that you could do and how much you could make it look like you or
Yes.
Zoidberg from Futurama was really incredible. They seem simple, but I imagine a lot of work went into
making them that simple.
making them that simple.
It's also remarkable how well making a Mii functions as a multiplayer experience where everyone is shouting at the screen and laughing. I probably have more time in the Mii Maker than in Wii Sports, just because it is that fun to make people.
Yeah, there was a whole Wii channel that was featured, that was focused on,
I believe that's the Check Me Out channel.
Check Me Out channel.
Yeah.
There was also Mii Parade.
Yep.
Another one that's just here's a bunch of Mii's and yours.
Here's everything you sickos made.
They were.
There are too many Hitlers here.
It was just such a focus
Right.
of that multiplayer experience and of the Wii experience in general that again, I think it's another of those defining pillars that continues to have ripple effects on Nintendo multiplayer today.
Yeah, and in some ways, a Mii feels a little bit like the dual screen gaming of the DS and 3DS and Wii U, where it's some of these game experiences are trapped behind a concept that we no longer engage with. That we've got Tomodachi Life. What's the subtitle coming out?
Something with dreams.
Yeah, something with dreams coming out next year. Which the part of the reason why that was so successful on the 3DS was that people just had a bunch of their friends created as Mii's in there already, and so it was fun.
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Thank you. And we have all of our. I don't have my current friends as Mii's on my Switch.
Yeah, it's buried multiple
Yeah.
levels deep. I mean, even in the Wii U era, they were a big part of
Yeah.
But with the Switch, when they decided to pull out like what is the word I'm trying to think of? Like,
I don't know what do you mean.
Like diminish the whimsy. That's not like the quite, but like where they were like
they decided to grow up. Mark.
Yeah,
kind of childish thing.
Like they're like no system music anymore.
Right. They streamlined.
Yeah,
the experience.
It's all a little Spartan, but the Mii's kind of went away with all that.
Well, the Mii's were kicked into a pit, and Doug Bowser yelled, "This is Sparta." I don't know why I chose Doug Bowser for that. He's still retiring, right?
He is still retiring at the end of the calendar year.
Just saw him at the Game Awards accepting Donkey Kong Bonanza, and it was like, oh yeah, that guy is still around through the end of the year. Yeah. My M, Mark, is for Micro Versus System, the variety of Game & Watch that I urged you not to speak about moments ago. There were 3 different of these games. There was boxing, Donkey Kong 3, which is a totally different game from the Donkey Kong 3 that we know and love, and Donkey Kong Hockey. And it was a Game & Watch that had 2 wired controllers like tucked into it that you pulled out so that you had to play these. You could play against a computer as well, but it's designed for you to either box against your friend or shoot an insecticide at your friend, or somehow on a Game & Watch play hockey against your friend as Donkey Kong.
Yeah, pretty incredible that they were doing that with Game & Watch technology.
Yes. And like they're so cool and weird looking because the controllers are just like they're little discs with like buttons and like a D-pad on them. It's just so I love the Game & Watch era because they were like, okay, we don't every decision we make we have to like invent, there are no established solutions. We just got to figure it out. And at best it'll play one game.
Also, Donkey Kong Hockey is an idea that should come back around again.
That is at least 5 million seller idea. Like if they made a new Donkey Kong Hockey for Switch 2, it would be a killer game.
Yeah.
And also Donkey Kong 3. Come on. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? All right. Well, so Mark, that is the first half of our ABCs of Nintendo multiplayer. Let's close this out. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. I want to say thank you so much to our 16-bit patrons, Connor McCabe, Patrice Millette, Kyle Seaborn, Drew Mackey. We appreciate you and everyone who's on the Patreon, everyone who's listening here, everyone who's hanging out in the Discord, everyone who is interacting with us in any way, right? Comments on the YouTube version of this? Great, thanks. Comments on Spotify? I don't even know how you're doing that, but great, thank you. Thank you to everyone, and yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday with part 2.
And if you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. Email us. We'll send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.